Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we'll be shooting these 4 bullets at blocks of clay at a distance of 100 yards. On the far left you're looking at a 17 Hornet 20 grain VMAX. Then you have another 17 Hornet 25 grain hollow point. Then you have a 22 Hornet with a 35 grain VMAX bullet on top. And lastly on the far right you have another 22 Hornet with a 45 grain jacketed soft point by PPU. We'll start by taking a quick look at the numbers, and then we'll go right out into the field to do some shooting to see how those numbers might translate when we take them off the paper and start to apply them in the real world. If you like today's video, please remember to click the like button, do subscribe, and turn on the notifications icon if you haven't already done so. And as always, we're looking forward to your comments. Thank you again. Now I have chronographed each of these cartridges off camera, and on the 17 Hornet 20 grain VMAX, typically those are doing about 37-52 feet per second at the muzzle, which means they have about 625 foot-pounds of energy. But more importantly, what kind of speed will it have at 100 yards, because that's the distance that we're shooting at today. It should arrive doing about 3165 feet per second, delivering 445 foot-pounds of energy. On the 17 Hornet 25 grain hollow point, those are starting off at about 3376 feet per second, 632 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle. At 100 yards, I'm anticipating that bullet will arrive with a speed of 2851 feet per second, delivering 451 foot-pounds of energy. Now on the 22 Hornet 35 grain VMAX, those I'm chronographing right around 3111 feet per second pretty consistently. So those have about 752 foot-pounds of energy at the muzzle. But at 100 yards, that 752 drops down to 407. And then on the speed, it'll be about 2288 feet per second worth of speed. On the 22 Hornet 45 grain jacketed hollow point, or jacketed soft point rather, by PPU, those I'm chronographing right around 2557 feet per second at the muzzle, 653 foot-pounds worth of energy. At 100 yards, it should arrive with a speed of 1930 feet per second, 372 foot-pounds. Now, it's interesting because your foot-pounds numbers, people often will associate the foot-pounds of energy with how powerful a bullet is. Now, how powerful something is and what it's best suited for aren't always the same thing. Some of you may have heard of the Taylor knockout formula before. For those of you who haven't heard of the Taylor knockout formula, here is that formula. It is the bullet weight in grains multiplied by the caliber in inches and multiplied by the velocity in feet per second and divided by 7,000. So for example, if we were to apply that formula to the 22 Hornet 45 grain jacketed soft point, we would take 45 times 0.22 times the speed. We know it will have 1930 feet per second worth of speed when it arrives. And we take that answer and we divide it by 7,000. And we should arrive with a number of about 2.73. Now I've applied that same Taylor knockout formula to all of these today, and here are their scores. Notice that the 22 Hornet, while it has the lowest amount of foot-pounds of energy, it has the highest score. Now this scoring system is mainly geared toward helping you to figure out what the bullets are best suited for. So the higher the Taylor knockout score is, it tells you that it's better suited for a larger game, whereas the lower the score is, it tells you that it's better suited for smaller game. So for example, the 17 Hornet 20 grain VMAX, even though it has really some pretty good foot-pounds of energy numbers at 445 foot-pounds, it has a Taylor knockout score of only 1.54. So it'll be interesting to see how those translate out there today. We'll be shooting at this 10-pound block of clay from a distance of 100 yards using the 17 Hornet 20 grain VMAX bullet Hornady Superformance. Walking up right now to the 10-pound block of clay that was just hit at 100 yards with a 17 Hornet 20 grain VMAX. Now, I'm not sure until I get home and watch this on slow motion. I'm not sure if I hit it dead center or not. But let's say I didn't hit it dead center. You can only imagine the damage if I did hit it dead center. Let's see if it went through the back. It did not go through the block of clay. Water jug is still unharmed. But it sure went everywhere else, though. I mean, look at this energy that just got transferred in all directions everywhere else. And if we look inside of here, let's see if we can open this guy up a little bit. Just a pretty hollow cavity inside of there, that's for sure. I don't know, from maybe, if we open this guy up further, maybe 6.5 to 8 inches from one side to the other is my best guess. Not bigger than 8 inches. Probably not smaller than 6.5 either, though. That is quite the cavity there. We'll be shooting this block of clay at a distance of 100 yards with a 22 Hornet using the 35 grain Hornady Varmint Express. Walking up right now to the 10-pound block of clay that was just hit at a distance of 100 yards with a 22 Hornet 35 grain VMAX bullet. It was a Hornady Varmint Express. And it would not appear that any bullet went through to the water jug. Yeah, water jug is unharmed. Nothing came out the backside. There are some bullet fragments inside of the clay for sure. A lot of little flakes of bullet fragment in there. And here's the paper target that was on there. So it looks like we hit, pretty close to dead center. It was a respectable hit anyway. We'll be shooting this 10-pound block of clay, distance 100 yards, with a 17 Hornet, using the 25 grain hollow point by Hornady. Walking up right now to the 10-pound block of clay that was just hit at 100 yards with a 17 Hornet 25 grain hollow point. Now, as you might see here, the target is pretty much still intact. So in other words, my shot placement was not exactly perfect. But even though my shot placement was less than perfect, that 25 grain hollow point is a very forgiving bullet. I mean, look at the damage anyway. It did not get through to the backside, but it certainly pushed that backside into the water jug pretty good. And you may not have noticed this on the camera. I'll have to take a look at it when I get home and do the editing. But what I saw through the rifle scope was small pieces and large pieces of clay just raining down for the sky for 1.5 to 2 seconds after this thing got hit. And here it is on the other side. We'll be shooting at this block of clay from a distance of 100 yards using the .22 Hornet 45 grain jacketed soft point by PPU. Walking up right now to the target that was just hit at a distance of 100 yards. This 10-pound block of clay looks like it probably got hit dead center. It was hit with a 45 grain jacketed soft point by PPU. You can see some of the damage on the side where the energy tried to escape. We do have an empty water jug behind us. It did leave quite the exit. The bullet did not go into water jug number 2. Let's see if we can find it inside of water jug number 1. And it is, looks like it's definitely in there. I don't know if you can see that on this angle or not. We'll pour that out in a moment for you there. All right, well, this is the recovered .22 Hornet 45 grain jacketed soft point. I'm not sure how much weight retention that has left. I'll weigh that when I get home and find out. My guess is probably 35 grains or heavier out of the 45 that it started with. We'll let you know. Okay, working from right to left, you've got your 25 grain 17 Hornet damage. You can kind of compare that to the 35 grain .22 Hornet damage. They're very similar. Now these, I'm showing you the bottom on purpose. This is your 17 Hornet 20 grain VMAX. Here is your .22 Hornet 45 grain jacketed soft point. You can see where this got pushed through the crate from the force that hit it. Again, this is the 17 Hornet, but here is your .22 Hornet. So it would certainly appear that regardless of the numbers, that .22 Hornet did hit it either more dead center, perhaps, is what we're seeing, or numbers or no numbers, it just simply did a better job.